think we will be more open to discussion, more open to challenging questions, more open to willingness to admit that I don't know and I want to learn. Okay, that attitude itself opens our mind and keeps our mind young, because every time a new neuronal connection happens, that's when the new cortical tissue found, and also you really have life. That's why people learning something that doesn't have to be at a maestro level, but just attempting to learn a new skill, new language, new instrument, or anything that really stimulates your mind, keeps you very young. We kind of observed this in a lot of elderly people who were doing the assembly work and then who were going to the job every day, and when they retired, they kind of retired from everything. They when their mind retired too. So these people developed early dementia or worsening dementia. I'm sure they have the genetic background. We are not denying that, but still they didn't have the stimuli that is needed for the mind. So they were losing the mind. It's like we call it just atrophy, senile atrophy, but that is accelerated when they kind of really retired. They thought just going to sit in the sofa and watch the mindless TV, and they have no stimulation at all. And then when they are placed in the nursing home, they went down much faster. This is a general admission I'm talking about, but you can talk about medical terms like a cognitive stimuli, deprivation, so many things will come. But I'm just talking to a general here. That's why I'm putting in layman's language. So that is in general is observed in the societies that you don't have awareness practices, which are awareness practices are being in the present, opening up your mind to the new things, and thinking about the something new every day, and really cultivating the skills of solving the problems rather than seeking technology to provide solutions right away. That is a problem with the chat gpt, because these kids are going to take up problems that we struggled for days. They're going to solve within 30-40 seconds. And then what are they going to get the stimuli from? Like when we were young, we were able to do very complex math very quickly with our own mind, mental math, right? And that kept us sharp in terms of complex mathematic problems and all that. Actually, I was very good in math in the high school. I got the highest marks in the mathematics. But my heart is on getting to be a doctor. So my biological sciences, I got 78 out of 100. But my mathematics, which is a compound and complex mathematics, I got 82 out of 100. So that kind of thing was there. But then I lost all that mathematical skills after I went into the medical field. There we were studying more about the biology, organic chemistry, and then biochemistry, and then anatomy, physiology, microbiology, all related to biological sciences, right? So it didn't need that kind of mathematical acumen. So I lost it. So that's the danger, that if you allow the machines to do some things that you could do by yourself. So I was talking about how can we be intelligent people using the AI with prudence, and also use them for what they are meant for, and also protect our inner qualities of critical thinking, emotional intelligence, self-awareness, problem-solving abilities. I think we should pay attention to making the kids and also ourselves. Even though old people also will have to do. Maybe we should pay more attention to that now that all the mundane and mechanical things can be done by the machines, right? You don't want to turn into a machine. You want to be encouraging your humane qualities. That's at least how I feel, you know. Uh, so that's what is important to understand and nurture these inner qualities so that we will be more human-like and much more so, much more intelligent, much more compassionate, much more kinder, gentle human beings, probably. You know, at least I hope so. That is what is going to happen. You know, so this is a very important thing about everybody. I think not just for the older people, but also young people that are raising the children, and also the teachers that are teaching. And there's a big debate going on now. How is this going to affect their natural intelligence? How is they're going to develop into creative human beings that can really create things? You know, not just because you are verbal or you are using the language in a way that is pretty clever is not going to make you very um, creative, right? So lots of time they can't control their own minds, they can't control their own emotions, you know. And are we aggravating that? That's something that you want to look at when you observe the closely the younger generation. In general, the attention deficit has gone down. It used to be like about 12, and then it came down to 12, where the 12 is um, for the, I think, the golden fish, goldfish in the that has that, I believe. And then we have gone down to 9 now, you know. There were studies where they said only so many bits of information mind can handle at one time, and that is going down. That's why I understand if you have any subject that is deep, that is beyond your capacity to understand, or is something like a foreign subject to you because you never explored it except the linear path, right? Then it's very difficult to pay attention, and then they leave. That's why instant gratification, few seconds you have to make an impression. These are all against those qualities I'm talking about. You want to raise those mental attention span, and you want to make them understand deeper issues of life. You want to understand deeper perspectives that were presented over the years in the human community. Very few people are really capable of having that kind of mental resolute stamina. They can't stay there, you know, just a few seconds and that's it. Everything has to be explained in that. You know, that is a very ridiculous thing. But then that's the state of affairs. And then what is going to happen when this technology takes over? Is apparently it is going to AGI, right? When it comes and it takes over and it rules, and then it tells you, no, I'm your avatar, and you got to do what your avatar is telling you. You know, so you like this movie because your mental features are figured out by this avatar, and the avatar is telling you right now you are not in touch with your real self. You are ruled by your ego. Then the ego is replaced by the avatar, and the avatar tells you what to do. That's one scenario. I'm not saying that's going to happen. You know, maybe it will happen, maybe it won't. But that's one scenario I heard kind of struck me very odd, that we are allowing this to um, be like that. Look at Elon Musk. What he did, he sued the OpenAI because they kind of lied. This is what he was saying. He said original board decision was to be non-profit and also to exert caution about releasing these things too soon, and then don't want to make it to the money baggers. But what they exactly did. They kind of sold it to Microsoft for $20 million, and they took over, and they're doing that. So from what I understood, from what Elon Musk was saying, that that should have allowed to happen. So it is now dangerous, put the humanity in danger. So these machines may dominate us. What are we going to do? Uh, Personally, I think many technologies threatened like that. and then we overcame as human. This time, because it is going to be over our mind, and then it is going to control, we have to wait and see what's going to happen, how soon this is going to come up. Probably there will be some section that will suffer a lot, but a lot of people will become much more rich, and the gap between rich and the poor will be more, and all those scary situations are there. But people are happy if they could develop a fake photo, and all these things. Okay, where is the ethical thing going? That's also another thing too. Ethical considerations. What are we going to educate people about that? How are we going to educate that? Somebody was expressing the problem. They can't even get away from the device. How can we control them to pay attention to anything? So that's why a simple thing I am doing, I want my associates in my club, and also my relatives, my students, I always ask them, put away the phone at least for a while before you go to sleep, or half an hour before you go to sleep, put it away. And that's a screen time, reduce that. But the important thing is, don't sleep with those things in your bed. And also, when you get up, don't pick it up. I think this measure will be very good. Somebody's coming. See, oh, Daryl. So that kind of screen time kind of will be very nice. So, hi, Daryl.
Hi, Dr. Rao.
Yeah,
Hi, how are you?
I am great. How are you?
I'm doing great.
Yeah,
Yeah, I love what you're talking about with the screen
yeah,
time
yeah,
and this high thinking,
yeah,
simple living. I think that's really really important.
yeah.
Um, One of the things that I just wanted to relate is, when I was a DJ,
Ah,
it wasn't it wasn't about the songs that you played that made you the perfect DJ, but it was the songs that you didn't play that
okay.
made you a perfect DJ.
Okay.
and and so I think of it the same way with like time and money,
Mm,
right? Because it's literally, the way that we don't spend our time
mm,
and the way that we don't spend our money,
mm,
right, says something. And where we do put our time and where we do put our money says other things. But if you cross them together
mm.
and you say, where, just for thinking, like to diagnose, to take a look at this, is how am I not spending my time but spending my money, such as investing and making money passively, right? In general,
Mm,
and or how am I spending my time and not spending my money, like how you treat your children
mm.
and how you invest in a teenager and
Yeah.
all of these kinds of things. And so you made me think of that, and I
Mm.
was like, yeah, it's the cross. It's like the opposite combining that makes you a great person in money
Mm.
and in parenting and what your goals are to
Yeah.
achieve. I just wanted to get your thought on that.
Yeah, it's a age-old question there. That's true, because education also. Are we satisfied if we can earn a living and learning some technical, which is easy to do now? But are we neglecting the humane qualities of
Hmm.
empathy, compassion, kindness, and feeling of responsibility to the life and contributing? That's what it is we are worried about. So people are, well, we can do whatever we want. That is growing more than we are obligated to the tribe, the human tribe, and the world. That is getting lost because they are getting too many things too easily too, especially this information overload, making them attention deficit. That's a big concern. They are not able to think for themselves, right?
Yeah, and that simplification
Yeah,
of, like we were talking about, I might talk about the narrow focus, that laser focus,
yeah,
and simplifying and looking at the long term.
yeah.
That I think that really ties into what you're saying is,
But yeah,
you know, yeah, we get so distracted, and so many great people get less than what they deserve out of their life, not
Yeah.
just financially, but
See,
they get
like
less than they deserve.
what you said about long thinking, like, this is like the seeds before we kind of engulf ourselves into the AI revolution and get all the benefits of it, that's productivity and all that. But we also have obligation to how this is affecting the future generations in the terms of mindfulness, self-awareness, with empathy, with critical thinking, all these things, because like I lost my mathematical acumen because I was not using anymore. The kids are showing the signs of that now. When this day is completely adopted, how would that be? That's my worry.
Yeah, our power to choose how
Yeah,
we distribute our focus,
yeah,
our attention, and what we give in surplus and what we withhold
yeah,
very disciplined. That is just, I think, so fascinating to me to even think about.
yeah. It's a good. We cannot stop the technology
Yeah,
improvements and developments, but how intelligent we are going to be using this high power we got.
yeah,
And that's where it's scary, because if the machines dominate us, that is one thing. But if you let the machines dominate us, that's another thing.
yeah. Well, thanks for having me. I
Yeah,
always enjoy your talks, Dr. Rao.
same here, Darrell. Thank you.
All
Okay.
right. Bye
Yeah.
bye.
So, yeah, earlier, Darrell had an interesting room, long thinking and small focus, which is like you plant all the seeds out in the field, and then you wait for them to germinate and come up. There's a long thinking, like, but when you have those trees nurturing them, the small focus is to, that's how I look at it, like how you can make the long-term goals, but then when it comes to actually implementing them, we focus to the, what is the immediate need and all that. There is something else I brought in that talk, was about the intelligence that's not dependent on traditional past thinking, especially in terms of inner affairs, not the outward affairs. So best practices for laying a road, we kind of take the scientific results and apply them. That's no problem. But suppose we were worried, fearful, hating each other culture, and you don't want to bring those qualities into here and make the youngsters adopt them. Then there's the intelligence, free of our psychological hang-ups, free of our lack of knowledge, whatever, right? And then you pay attention to what it is presenting to you, and then accept it as it presents to you, and then adjust to it, improve it, iteratively improve it, that kind of thing. Anyway, so AI taking over, AI making our productivity much higher, but then some of the people who are not current with the technology obviously will suffer, will have no economic success and all that. That is also a problem. But more than that, what I am worried about is, do we have the intelligence to deal with this major power that's given to us? It's like a sharp knife that's given to somebody who doesn't have a balance. And then he will go and do all sorts of mischief with it, that kind of thing. So, inner balance, inner attention, inner quality of intelligence, I think that is going to be very important, and we can pay attention to that with small things. I call what is called digital detox on a daily basis. Look at what you are doing to your brain by exposing yourself to various kind of thoughts and you know inputs or stimuli. Let it come and let it go into us without having the discretion of what is important, what's not, what is harmful, and all that. Many people allow this to go passively, and then they suffer the consequences of the basically the dirt of the data that you put in. It will only cause more dirt in your mind. So you got to have a figurative some process where every day you can clean it up, and every day you can throw it out. And even for good sleep, you need to have some kind of calm mind or empty mind. If you cannot do empty mind, at least review everything, and then if you are actively feeling about something, go through it and finish it off and throw it away. This can be a good habit though. Like I developed this habit years ago, and now even on the in the early part of the morning to late evening, I can do that moment to moment awareness where I'm aware of what is present today, what is coming, what is happening in my mind. And then after that is done, I am done completely. And that means you are done with the thought process and you ended up again in the awareness that you have begin with. So you are aware in the beginning, and then you think and you let it go and clean it up. It's kind of a meditation as you go along, meditation in the moment, meditation in the life's action, you know so that means you have a real good this is a monk's mind we describe. I'm not a monk, but I'm monk like mind. I'm not that completely perfected in that, but what I'm saying is this is a possibility that people can hope for, aim for, by every day attending to this. And it's all a question of habit. How you live it, your mind will go that way. But how you develop it, the capacity will increase and it builds on itself. That's the understanding is not enough. You got to do it every day as much as possible. You don't have to punish yourself, you don't have to be forcible, but just bring this awareness, bring this understanding every day to the forefront in the morning. There is a saying that I remember from ancient texts. They says every day you wake up in the small self of your conditioned mind or prejudiced mind or your feelings and all that, right? From that small mind you get to elevate yourself to a nobler mind that's already there within you, that can take all these things with ease and then dismiss them as though they are not important because the other person is also you, right? So elevate your thinking, your mind from that lower conditioned mind, whatever, to the newer learning higher mind. And that will be very wonderful to you. If you can do just that every day and then land yourself, don't blame yourself, don't judge yourself, whatever you ought, just to see it and then elevate to the next. Just by seeing it, it drops. You know, so I taught this to one of my students. She was getting angry very easily. You know, but then she was aware of it after it is done. And she hated that. She didn't want to be losing her temper that easily, and also seething with anger is not good for you anyway. Everybody knows that, right? It drains our energy. So I told her, just be aware of the anger as it is happening. Usually we are not. We are getting angry. We may have justification. We may have so much, and then we kind of let that ride on itself and build on itself, and it grows. But if you can separate that anger happening and you the observer, you the witness, you the watcher, you can observe that, then the anger automatically subsides. That's something you have to experiment and see. I don't want to say that is so for everybody, but it is something you could definitely do it yourself and at the moment and be. It's a question of separating yourself from that emotion, from the thought. That comes with practice, and then slowly you will be really watching everything like you are the watching the movie on a screen, but you are not the actor in there. Okay, so it's kind of difficult in the beginning, but that's why first of all, closing the eyes, sitting down, and gathering all the thoughts is important. Then limiting the thoughts to a few is important, and then as the thoughts are going by, you can slow them down by deep breathing, and you can come to one thought, and staying in the one thought is called dhyana. Then you do that as you are doing several hours a day, this kind of thing. Then you will end up just identifying each thought, and then you can convert it to negative to positive. All these things takes years in some people, in a few weeks in some people. In some people, it will be spontaneous. It depends upon how much maturity they have in this respect, But if you say, I don't care, let all the thoughts come, let the thoughts go, whatever happens, happens, I will manifest whatever comes to me, I will take the consequences, then nobody can have a discussion with you. But if you are really want to taste that still mind, if you want to taste that silence in the mind, if you want to really not react spontaneously or impulsively or instinctively, but you want to be a thoughtful person, gentle person, you want to be really enjoying the silence instead of saying anything that comes to your mind, then you can understand this process of how thoughts are initiated, how thoughts can form their own network, how thoughts can make a complicated network of thoughts in your mind, and then they stay there. And then later on, when you are not aware, they will come out again. So instead of a daily way of detoxing yourself from excess, unnecessary, trivial thoughts is a very good, healthy measure. Actually, if you go to the neuroscience, if you look at the particles, if you look at the hormones and all that, you will be very happy that happiness hormone is secreted when you are really silent and nice. That's why I relish being silent in my mind and not doing any active thinking on unnecessary things. I throw them away. Suppose something intrigues me, something like a fascinates me, something I need to think about. Fine, take it up, sit down with it, and go to the end of it. That's fine. Then, when you have the insight, what you want to retain is the learned experience, not the whole thing. Okay, you may recall the journey and tell, but you don't want to hang on to that. Okay, so there are so many mental gymnastics that you could do that can really strengthen your thought patterns and how you think, how they come, how they go. That's all under volitional control in a monk, because they are trained, and they also develop this dispassion for the things that they don't need at all. Okay, they sacrifice the entire world. That's a different thing. But you can say what's important for me, what's not important, and then don't dwell on the unimportant thing. That kind of thing. I kind of try to keep my mind detoxed at the end of the day by doing. I explained to you guys before. It's a kind of, I review all the reactions that I had during the day. Today, I visited a couple of rooms, and then I talked about this education. I talked about this long thought and narrow focus and all. We focus small. Okay, that's what the title was. And I was kind of doing my own work, and I had some things writing. I did the writing and all that. But everything is washed off in the sense that I don't want to hold on to everything happened. Only the learned lesson that I want to keep it. This kind of limiting and not overloading with information is one of the things that we need to teach our kids. That's how I feel, because they don't need to overcrowd with them with a lot of things, and also they may not have the clarity of what is life, what they may encounter, how can they have the resilience to face the life's events. That I think we should be examples, and also we should be showing them the means how to do. Otherwise, this onslaught of this is one of the major technological breakthrough that we ever had. We really don't know how it is going to go. We are only speculating a lot of things. But one thing is for certain is we need to develop the inner resilience of the kids and ourselves so that we use the intelligent users of this technology. Okay. So, anybody else want to come up and discuss with me? You're more than as the time goes on, as we see this technology kind of bloom and flower, and I think there are some areas that we will be regretting, but there are many areas probably we will be happy about, and that's what we should do. Somebody's coming. Let's see. Okay. Yeah. Hakeem, welcome.
Hey, Dr. Rao.
Hi.
Thanks for having me. How are you today?
I'm good, Hakeem. How are you?
Excellent, thank you. I just wanted to comment on this specific title for your talk, which is
Yeah.
about simple living
Yeah.
and high thinking. I have one of my websites is hypnoathletics.org, and on that site, the tagline that I have there is actually it might be hypnoathletics.net, but it says higher living, lower profile.
Ah.
You know,
Yeah. Okay.
because so the simple living part you have is lower profile, because you don't need to be a celebrity or
Yeah.
an influencer or something big
Yeah.
out there all the time to do it, but you can have a higher living, like you put your high thinking,
Yeah.
and that's been something that's been very important to me.
Yeah.
That actually throughout all of the things that I do, and anything that I might go through, my process and my dedication to constantly learning has been something that continues to keep me motivated and moving forward regardless of what's
Absolutely.
happening.
Absolutely. Yeah. That is true because you expose a lot of neuroscience articles, and that's like exposing yourself to new material and then bringing it and sharing it. Thereby, your understanding will be deep seated, right? So that's good for
Yes.
your mind also. Not only that you're doing a service, but it's good for your mind also. Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, it definitely keeps me going.
Yeah.
Um,
Mhm. Actually, that's the key to
and
keep the mind not to be demented at a later age, Hakim, because this habit will continue. You will keep on creating the new neural correction, which is good for you.
right, yeah,
Yeah.
as you know already, that's
Yeah.
in neuroscience they call that neuroplasticity,
Neuroplasticity. Yeah.
and the more that it goes along with that saying, use it or lose it, right?
Yeah. That's true, actually. To use it or lose it. Yeah.
And so I find that to be a really important thing, you know,
Mm.
because regardless of whatever goals and aims and things that you might have,
Mm.
a lot of things, sometimes things don't work out always the way that you want to. You might think that you have an opportunity coming up,
Yeah.
and it falls by the wayside.
Mm.
But if you always have something that's meaningful
Yeah.
to do,
Mm-hmm.
something that excites you and that you're passionate about, especially in the realm of learning, because there's so many different ways to learn.
Yeah.
I've been teaching yoga for 20 years,
Mm.
and the fact that um, I have that's a form of learning. I
Yeah.
call it physio meditation.
Yeah.
It's a form of learning. We have physical learning.
Mhm.
There's different types of intellect. You have physical intelligence, you have emotional intelligence, spiritual
Yeah.
intelligence,
Yeah.
academic intelligence. But there's always a different way to learn, and as
Yeah.
long as there's some way that you're continuing to apply yourself and move forward, um,
Yoga is like music, Hakim. Music is a vast
yeah,
ocean. Yoga is also a vast and ocean. I think any branch will be like that probably when you go into the depth of it. So
yeah,
uh, I keep learning
I like
yoga
that.
even
Yeah,
now. Even now, I keep learning after travel of so much. I keep something comes up every day.
and I do like that. It is yoga, rest in motion,
Mm.
and sometimes because there's some pranayama yoga, and sometimes some, a lot of people tend to think of the Western view
Mm.
of yoga, which is the hatha or
Yeah.
the vinyasa, right? All of
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
movements and what they call poses, right?
Mm.
But that's just as you know, a small part of it.
Yes.
There's
That
really
is trivializing yoga, basically.
right.
So, but once they learn it, they will at least start it somewhere and they are progressing, but many of them don't really understand. You can come back, Hakim. You're talking something. I'm sorry to interrupt you. So it's a question of having the depth introduced to us by the whatever we are up to, and then what I find in my students, Hakim, they are always focusing on immediate problems, but then they get so motivated because nothing has worked and then this has worked, then they want to take more interest. So if you just let them to their own curiosity, they will come up with a lot of questions to learn, you know.
Well, earlier you spoke to Daryl on his talk
Hmm.
when he was talking about the long
Thinking, yeah.
the long thinking and
Yeah.
the small
Focus,
focus, right?
yeah.
Focus small,
Hmm.
and that's related to what you're saying.
Yeah.
That's how truth is. When people are speaking about things that are relevant to our existence,
Hmm.
just like you're talking about now, that a lot of people are focusing on the immediate things all the time, and
Yeah.
that's important to an
Hmm.
extent. But when we have that long thinking, or looking at the bigger picture,
Hmm.
it helps to put in perspective
Yeah.
that immediate. Because if you're just looking at what's right now, right in front of you, you're only looking at that,
Yeah.
but sometimes expanding and having that long thinking.
You know
There,
what my long thinking is? One word, okay? Mine are existential issues. What is life? What is death? Where do we go from here? Those kind of existential issues that were explored by the ancients quite a bit, That's where a lot of clarity has come. Yeah, go ahead. Talk something.
oh no, just sometimes your mind, when you look at the long view, the bigger picture,
Hmm.
it seems like it tends to reverse engineer backwards on the timeline from a
Yeah.
future goal or a bigger picture that you see,
Mm.
and can even help you solve immediate issues that are in your present,
Yeah.
because it shows what's beyond, and,
Mm.
and it shows that once you,
Yeah, exactly.
if you're looking at something in the future, it shows you steps to get past where you currently are.
That's how the creativity also. You want to dig out, and as you are digging out, you will have more creative things come out of you. You have not even thought about it, but your goal kind of leads to something else, probably sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So I definitely appreciate that perspective. So
yeah.
thank you for letting me speak with you once again, Dr. Rao. It's always a pleasure.
It's a pleasure of mine too. Okay, thanks for coming up. Because
Thank
this education is so important, I brought it up, and I talked at some universities, and they were always looking at how to make some living for the kids, but then they're not paying attention to what's happening within them and around them and what is thrown at them. So those kind of things we have to point out. Sometimes it's painful, but then the more we see them clearly, the better it is. There is something that I follow. One of the sages said, what is sacred. That means don't build any ideas around it, past or present, but as things present to you, perceive them for what they are. Um, so that is, then you can handle what is in front of you rather than giving explanations or excuses or some kind of hopeful picture. You will deal with the situation as it presented to you. So that's a significant statement, I thought. What is sacred, you know. So that is one statement I always remember. For example, we go vacation, we have all the plans laid out and we're going to enjoy, and then we kind of land from the plane and it's downpouring. Then you have to spend all the time in the hotel room. You cannot do any of the things that you wanted to plan. So how can you be not affected by it and then being cheerful and appreciating the time together? and seeing the positives of playing some card games or some dinner or some making some food or whatever. So that actually happened to us. We went to India, and we kind of landed in Bombay. Now it's called Mumbai. This is a major city, right? And we had to change the plane from one thing, but then they all canceled it because it's downpouring so heavy, no planes. So they put us in a hotel, right? As we went to hotel, they put all our luggage on the top of these taxis, small taxis, and everything drenched. So we went to the hotel, and then we kind of put all that to dry out, and then we slept, and the next day we went off. So the whole thing got spoiled because there are gifts for people from here, and there are valuable things, and all, they all got spoiled, So that kind of thing. Then if you have perspective, oh, they're just things we can replace. At least we are safe and we don't have any accident or anything like that. So let us be happy. So trying to see what is presented and trying to see the better part of that is something you can nurture, provided you have the control of your thinking, right? That's where it's called pratipaksha bhavana. So as I described, you concentrate and you stay slow the thoughts and then stay with one thought. Then you know, is it a negative or positive? Then actively you are always staying every day. You are converting the negative to it's a more like a cognitive reframing, that we call it here in the Western medicine, but in yoga they call it pratipaksha bhavana. So every day night, if you sleep, you have some negatives coming up thought, try to convert them from that negative to positive. That will be a good training for you. It will be trivial matters, but still it will present you how you are thinking, what you're thinking made up of, how is that psychological structure has developed in you. All that will be education for you about yourself. This is what they call self-knowing, atma vichara. Okay, it's self-inquiry. Atma gnana is self-knowing. Once you have the knowledge at that depth, then you will be able to change that into something of a positive for you. Okay. So anybody else? What's the time now? Okay, 45 minutes. Okay. So I can be here another 15 minutes. Oh no, 6:54 now. So another 5 minutes I'll be here. If anybody wants to come up. Thanks, Daryl. Thanks, Hakim, for coming up. So and 17 people there. Okay. The Right Warrior, Michael, Phil, Crystal, Stephanie, Daryl, Terry, Lauren, Hakim, Coach, Martha, Pierre, just Vita, and Jennifer, Christina, Brian, Brenda. Thank you all for coming up and listening. And I will be seeing you again tomorrow. So we will continue the series. We will bring up more of what is the mind? Is it a mistress or is it our real wife? That's a topic we're going to talk about it. And then you will see what is your real wife, what is your mistress, and how you are neglecting the real wife and encouraging the mistress. That is a actual discussion happened in one of the philosophical talks. So I thought I will present that to you because this is related to how you can make your life simpler and how you can make thinking much more stimulating, deeper, and really rich. So we will talk about that tomorrow. Thank you. I'll see you tomorrow. Thanks, Austin. I'll see you tomorrow.